Fellow warriors, welcome aboard the Joshticle, and it's that time of the year again, people. With Tokyo Game Show on the horizon, we are once again left with the question: will Dynasty Warriors 9 be announced at this year's TGS? I think so, and here's why. Before proceeding any further, I need to make it clear that at this moment of time, Dynasty Warriors 9 has yet to be announced. We don't even know if it will actually be called Dynasty Warriors 9. The only official information we currently have resides in a few interviews and messages with the higher-ups at Omega Force and Koei Tecmo. If you would like to read these interviews yourself, head over to the description below where you'll find all the juicy infos accompanied with some links for your viewing pleasure. In a nutshell, the higher-ups spoke of innovation and experimentation in every single one of these interviews. They don't specifically use the term Dynasty Warriors 9. Instead, they talk generally about the future of Dynasty Warriors. Keyword: future. Other than that, we do know that Dynasty Warriors 9 low-key exists. If you missed my video on that topic, click this annotation. Aside from the interviews, back at last year's TGS, we also received a special message that, although doesn't directly mention Dynasty Warriors 9, the way the messages are read heavily implies the aforementioned. And I quote, "Last year we welcomed the 15th anniversary of the Dynasty Warriors series, and we were not able to deliver the news fans were expecting. For that, we are very sorry. This year, we're preparing to make a big announcement, so please look forward to it." I've already gone over the importance of this message in another video of mine. Here's the annotation to said video. For anyone unaware, the message was Koei Tecmo's official response to all the disappointed Japanese fans who were expecting a Dynasty Warriors 9 announcement. If you were watching Koei Tecmo's live streams last year, the chat was full of people talking about Dynasty Warriors 9 and how excited they were. Of course, when TGS was over and no announcement came, not only were the Japanese fans disappointed, but us worldwide fans as well. At that very moment, every single fan's Musou attack suddenly turned into a giant sigh that echoed across the world. We were forced to bite our tongues and say, there's always next year, right? But I say nay. Fast forward to present day, and here we are with TGS 2016 taking place from September 15th to the 18th. Hopefully you enjoyed that brief history lesson, but let's get down to business. Why do I think Dynasty Warriors 9 will finally be announced at this year's Tokyo Game Show? We'll start off with the weakest piece of evidence. Number 1. The big Dynasty Warriors announcement of 2016. What else could it be? Put 2 and 2 together and logically we have ourselves a concoction for a Dynasty Warriors 9 announcement. Hold the phone. What about Dynasty Warriors Eiketsuden or even Project Dynasty Warriors? Both were officially announced this year. One of the two must be the big announcement, right? Not so fast, fellow warriors, you just activated my trap card! A follow-up message by Koei Tecmo was never released regarding this supposed big announcement of 2016 for Dynasty Warriors, meaning it has not been flat out said whether or not Eiketsuden or Project DW is actually the big announcement, so the possibility of Dynasty Warriors 9 fulfilling that slot is still there. But of course, the caveat to this is that there's no need for Koei to specifically say the big announcement is one of the two, because the words speak for themselves. In Koei's perspective, there is no need to state the obvious. Maybe Eiketsuden is the big announcement. But once again, we do not have any confirmation. It can neither be 100% approved or disapproved. Let me know what you guys think. Number 2. Since the release of Dynasty Warriors 8 in Japan, 3 years have passed. Freaking 3 years, people! When looking at the Japanese release dates from Dynasty Warriors 2 to Dynasty Warriors 8, the average gap between each installment is about 2 years. with the exception of Dynasty Warriors 6 and 7 being 4 years. You see what I'm saying? Based on their history, now seems about time for the 9th announcement to be announced. Not to mention we are in the last few months of the year with 2017 right around the corner. It just makes sense. I understand, quality games need time, especially in this new age where games take a lot more resources and time to create due to technology becoming more sophisticated with each passing year. Graphics of games these days are absolutely stunning, but that also increases development time. I've been waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3 and Final Fantasy 15 since 2006. I have no problem with being patient, but that's besides the point. The point I'm making is that now seems like the perfect time for Koei Tecmo to reveal their trump card, aka Dynasty Warriors 9. Never underestimate the manpower behind Omega Force. Without a doubt, Omega Force, the team behind not only Dynasty Warriors, but the entire Musou franchise, is arguably one of the fastest video game developers in the world. We're talking about a team that is able to release 4 Samurai Warriors games in the span of 3 years. And that's not even including all the collaborative titles and side projects. Ah, yes, collaborative titles. This is the perfect segue into number 3, which builds off of this. In the 3 years since the original Dynasty Warriors 8, Omega Force has had many opportunities to test and try out their new ideas and innovations. Think of it this way, there's a reason why recent Musou titles by Omega Force seem to always introduce one new concept or heavily expand on an existing idea in radical ways. Experimentation, my friends, and Omega Force is no stranger to it. What I'm saying is that with all these collaborative games and other Musou titles, they surely had the convenience to test out ideas that can later be implemented in Dynasty Warriors 9. Now I won't go into full detail here as I'll have a full-blown in-depth video soon enough, so stay tuned for that. How are you guys feeling? Are the dots starting to connect? No? Let me introduce you to number 4. The reason why I'm 99% confident it will be revealed and announced at TGS 2016 is simple. It's undoubtedly the perfect place to announce Dynasty Warriors 9. How so? I've briefly touched upon this in my Why Dynasty Warriors 9 won't be announced at E3 2016 video, which you should watch because I also delivered an epic speech towards the end of the video in an Aragon Lord of the Rings fashion. But I digress. Here's the gist of it. Koei Tecmo is a Japanese video game company. Their primary audience is Japan. Obviously, Koei Tecmo is aware of us worldwide fans. Nonetheless, the Japanese fans will always receive the special treatment. They receive the game first, they receive the info first, it's just how it works. Now imagine yourself as a higher up at Koei Tecmo. Now ask yourself the question, what's the best way to reveal Dynasty Warriors 9? Duh! At the biggest gaming trade show in Japan where upwards of 250,000 gamers go for the latest and greatest gaming news and the opportunity to get their hands on some playable demos. Not only will Dynasty Warriors 9 make its Japanese grand debut in a glorious fashion, but every single Musou fan in the world with an internet connection would eventually stumble upon the announcement within a few days. I can see it right now. Dynasty Warriors 9 trending on Twitter and every single gaming site. Oh man, that's what I call Musou heaven. I mean, it just makes too much sense, people. Adding on to that, this is Koei's chance at redemption for last year's absence of Dynasty Warriors 9. Give the disappointed fans what they've been clamoring for all these years. Regain their goodwill and it will be smooth sailing from here on out. It's all about sparking that buzz and keeping that momentum going. Koei would be swimming in money. History will repeat itself. Dynasty Warriors and Tokyo Game Show are no strangers towards one another. Dynasty Warriors 6 Empires and Dynasty Warriors 7 made their debut at TGS during their respective time. So why can't Dynasty Warriors 9? The time is nigh. With the highly anticipated PlayStation Neo expected to be officially announced at Sony's news event on September 7th, the week before TGS, the evidence and odds of this announcement are swinging in our favor. Am I the only one that smells Dynasty Warriors 9 on the Neo? Ooh, the very thought of it just raises my morale bar. Koei would be insane to not capitalize on this moment. The only reason against revealing the game at TGS is that maybe the game simply isn't ready and has not yet reached the point of polish to make a grand debut. If that's the case, that's totally fine. By all means, Koei Tecmo, you do you. But based on all this information and thinking, I legitimately would be shocked if Dynasty Warriors 9 is not announced at this year's TGS. Because once the golden opportunity that is TGS passes, where else can the game make its grand debut? Magazine scans via Famitsu? Boring! Jump Festa? Unlikely. PlayStation Experience? Maybe. Random out-of-the-blue announcement? Who really knows? My intuition is telling me it will be TGS, and it has to be TGS, it just has to. I really don't want to say the same phrase again. There's always next year. No! 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 Now with everything said and done, remember that my thoughts are not to be taken as fact nor as the authoritative voice of all things Musou. I very well could be wrong. So until the fateful day where the sun rises on the eve of TGS 2016, keep your expectations and hype at a reasonable low. And if you're watching this video after the event and Dynasty Warriors 9 still hasn't been announced, feel free to unleash your Musou attacks as you roast me in the comments below. However, if the stars align and Dynasty Warriors 9 is indeed announced, well, you might as well call me a true warrior of the Three Kingdoms. And that concludes my thoughts on the matter. Until the next batch of juicy info, stay tuned for more Musou greatness. Thanks for watching, mash that like button if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to board the Joshticle by subscribing. I'm OhhhmyJosh, and remember, do not pursue Liu Boo. I'm back, people. Let's get this Dynasty Warriors 9 hype train going, people. We are going strong, baby. Let's go. Woo!
Feel the power of my magic! Benevolence!